Hello, we're just going to get started. Hopefully you can see me. Let me see if my camera, yeah, it should be switched on. If you can see me and hear me, could you just please raise your hand? I know you have some tools, some actions you can do at the bottom. Yep, that's right. Okay, great. You can hear me and see me. That's fantastic. Um, Welcome to the webinar. My name is Henriel and I'm the Communication Outreach Officer for the University of Gibraltar. Before we get started, I'm just going to run through a couple of controls you have as attendees. First one is one that some of you have already used, is raising your hand, which is great, and it works. We also have the chat that Dr. Awantha has already used, so hopefully you can see that. And we also have a question and answer section where you can write in any questions throughout the webinar, and we can address those questions later on. So you have two areas where you can write questions either within the chat or the Q&A, whichever you fancy the most, that will work. And lastly, at the end of this webinar, we're going to have a brief survey of how the webinar went, how you heard about us, just to really help us improve the ways in which we communicate with others. Okay, so here's a little introduction. My name's Henry. Like I said, Communication Outreach Officer, and with me is Dr. Awantha Dissanayake. He's the head of school for Marine and Maritime Sciences. I'm sure Awantha will introduce himself later on. So this is the schedule, just a quick welcome, a small introduction by me about the university, and then we're gonna go straight into the program, postgraduate program, and go through Q&A. So about Gibraltar, I'm not too sure if you've heard about us, maybe you've looked us up online, but we're located in the south of the Iberian Peninsula, right at the bottom of Spain. We are a British overseas territory, so English is our first language and Spanish is a very close second because of our proximity to Spain. It's a very small place, so only a population of around 32,000. So this means because of its location and of its size, we have a very diverse population, but it's a very safe community. These are some photographs of the rock as it's known. If you look at the image on the top left, you can see a big green patch. Well, the university is located just to the left of that. And as it's a peninsula, we are surrounded on all sides, bar one, to sea, which means you have beautiful ocean, beautiful sea all the way around. Which makes for lovely beaches, and in particular for this program, makes for great access, quick access to the areas of interest. About the university itself, we opened up in 2015, so we're quite a new university, but we have cutting edge facilities. All of our programs are aligned to UK standards, so it's like getting a UK degree at the entrance of the Mediterranean. And all of our programs are designed with industry input. So that means that people who run the program, who design the program, all have industry experience, and that is blended into the actual program itself. Here are a few photos of our campus, just to give you a little bit of a flavor for it. So we have like in the photo in the middle, the top middle, you see is the big atrium. That's sort of the part that connects both sides of the campus. We have different types of classrooms, lecture rooms, workshop rooms, and also IT. We don't have a photo of the lab, but we also have a lab. And we have a simulation suite for those doing nursing. And if you look at the image on the top left, that's our library area. So you also have a quiet space to work as well, should you like. A little bit about our teaching. We really pride ourselves in personal teaching, in sort of helping and supporting our students, especially because of COVID. We have to follow, and we do follow, all the government guidelines on COVID-19, sort of keeping physical distancing, hand sanitizing, and wearing masks throughout campus. Because of our size, and the class layout, we're able to hold face-to-face in-person teaching. This is really important, and we really believe this adds a lot of value. Should we need to, though, we also have a virtual learning environment to allow lessons and classes to still go on should a lockdown ever occur, or occur again, let's say. student experience studying with us, you also have opportunity, of course, of staying in student accommodation, which is only 2 minutes away. The accommodation is practically new. I think it's only been, was built 2 years ago. And they're all en suites. I'm going to show you a picture after this slide. They're lovely student accommodations. Again, just 2 minutes away from here. We have a growing international student community, and actually very much down to this program, it tends to attract a lot of students from all parts of the world. You can see some of them there. Also, an important part of the student experience is actual access to lecturers, access to information, access to facilities. And we are one that, because of the class sizes, we really give you that access and that sort of personal university experience. Here are some photos of the accommodation. It's quite a nice accommodation. Like I said, they are en suite, but they also have your own kitchen area, which you can see in the top left, your own room and your own place to study. They're sort of divided into 2 blocks. So that's where you'd be. Then we also have what's known as the Europa Point Language Center. We do understand that some people who come to study with us aren't English necessarily isn't their first language, and therefore they might need some help for their studies. So we have 2 options for these types of students, and it depends on what level they're at. First option is a pre-sessional English course. This will start around 12 to 8 weeks before your program begins. And that would be just sort of an intensive English course to get you up to speed for the program. Or if you only need just a little bit of help, maybe you have, I think the program is a 7.0 IELTS. If you only have a 6.5 and you just need that little bit more help, we have what is known as academic English support. And this runs in parallel with the program. So it starts at the same time as your program, and you get the support that way. But if you have any questions about that, you can let us know. And also I can put you in touch with Rebecca Moon, who is in charge of the Europa Point Language Center. Okay, some key points before I pass you on to Awantha is our program, and this program is UK aligned. We offer face-to-face teaching. Gibraltar is a safe community, and we provide the support for international students who want to study with us, English lessons, through our Europa Point Language Center. And actually, you apply directly through us. In order to apply for this program, you apply directly through our website. You go to the program page, and at the very bottom, you have a link to click on apply and fill in the form. So now, before I pass you on to Awantha, I'm just going to play a short video to introduce the program.
The Masters in Marine Science and Climate Change is offered full-time and part-time at the University of Gibraltar. This Masters offers practical elements in important marine research, both in the laboratory and in the field.
I'm really interested in environment, so I wanted to expand my knowledge about climate change and as well my research in regards of marine biology to see how it works as a whole ecosystem.
The advantage that we have of hosting this program here is our location. We're between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean Sea. We've got this wonderful variety of coastal ecosystems. You can see killer whales one day, you can see tuna passing by. Not just the coastal ecosystems, but the open ocean. You don't get that anywhere else.
The lab work itself brings a new sort of environment in terms of how I work. Looking at different mussels or different sort of animals and species under a microscope really highlights the marine aspect. Most of the lecturers have helped us with any queries that we've had on how to tackle the exams, and throughout the course they've really done well in establishing a unique basis of the marine environment.
Here at the University of Gibraltar, we pride ourselves on small class sizes. You won't just come away with the understanding of marine ecosystems, but a more personalised approach to teaching. Additionally, we give you the practical skills to enable you to become successful in the working environment.
We work with a whole range of stakeholders which are involved in the program. Government agencies, businesses, all of which work in the marine sphere. They contribute to the program and they have a total and dynamic interaction with our students.
Great, so I'm going to stop sharing now and I'm going to pass you on to Awantha. Also, if you have any questions, like I said before, please please write them down as the session goes on, and we'll get to them at the end.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining us. I hope you can hear me. So yeah, this webinar is basically to introduce you to the Marine Science and Climate Change program. And before I do that, I'll just give an introduction to myself and what I bring to the program. Okay, so I'm the program leader. I'm the principal kind of lecturer on the program. We have a team of 3, but it's not just local experts. You will hear from international experts as well. I'm a marine biologist by training. I've worked in academia, industry, and governments. And I bring a whole range of skills which I know that employers particularly want and require from graduates, having been in the roles myself. I'm interested predominantly in marine protected areas, or MPAs, marine policy. I'm an ecophysiologist by training, so what that means is I try to understand how organisms cope with and respond to the environment. Therefore, you can then paint a picture of ecosystem health. I'm particularly interested in science communication, and this is something we really have embedded in the program, and you'll come away with those skills. And particularly as important is stakeholder engagement. You're going to have to work with the whole remit of both a technical and a non-technical audience. And I've employed those skills in various guises in either Europe and Asia, and there's a list of countries where I have worked in. Okay, so a bit about the program. It's a relatively new program. We started in September 2018 with a full-time course, and then we blew it up to a a part-time course and blew up to a full-time course. It is a very intensive master's, but it's challenging but satisfying, and that's been reflected in feedback, which I'll come on to in a minute, from both the external examiners and also previous students on the program. It's very much skills focused, because what I want you to do is come away with skills and knowing when you enter the job market exactly how to, what I like to say, monetize your skills. So then you will come away with, having created a portfolio, you know exactly what skills you have to then enables you to apply for a job. So a bit about the entry profile, and this is just typical. We very much look at each application on a case-by-case basis. So it says a 2-1, but that's just not a hard and fast rule. So for example, if you've got a 2-2, again, that does not preclude you from applying. We take very much your application on a case-by-case basis. Okay, a bit about the fees. Obviously, we're very aware of the impact of COVID on people's finances. So for this year, what we've done is we've aligned the international fees with the home fees. So if you're an international applicant, your fees are literally going to be the same as an EU or a UK student. Okay, a bit about the feedback. So this, like I said, we really do embed skills within modules. So by that, I mean, I never want students to come away with, oh, I did a master's or even a PhD for that matter, and not knowing what skills they've got. So we flipped it in this program. Having worked for academia and governments, I know what they want. So what you will be doing even for each assessment will have a very much transferable and real world application. I never want to design assessments that are just a report, an essay for the sake of it, which you get a mark and then it sits on my shelf. That is, a waste of time for yourself and a waste of time for me. So that way you come away with skills knowing that you will be highly employable. Okay, on to the marine environment itself. We gain a lot of benefits from the marine environment, but at the same time, it does face multiple pressures. And there's a few listed there, that the primary ones being climate change, and arguably the next biggest thing is microplastics. And that's been an emergent term, and it's a very young science, but we do know we've got evidence of trophic level effects. And those aren't the only multiple pressures the environment faces, but there's others such as trawling, and we're going further and farther for our resources, as well as overfishing. So how is the program structured? Well, it's a 9-module master's program, hence why it's challenging. And what we do is we give you skills along the way, and it'll culminate in what's known as the capstone project and the research-based project. The capstone is the preparatory phase, and we use that very much to prepare you for how to write a research proposal and you start with a very nebulous question, which we train you how to hone in. Some of you may want to go and do a PhD, and this is the exact kind of training that we give, and we train you at a PhD level. Okay, so what will you gain from the program? Obviously, a wide-ranging knowledge of the marine environment. We very much want you to be work ready, so then you are enabled to kind of achieve your career goals. And this program gives you the opportunity to study in a very unique location. Science has to be of societal benefit. Long gone are the times of doing science for science sake. It very much has to, it's very much driven by taxpayers' money. So you have to show what you've been doing, which is why science communication and stakeholder engagement is so important. Again, so like I said, students as well as the external examiner have said that the program is very challenging, but yet very satisfying. If you've worked hard for it, you're going to appreciate it all the more. And again, so very much, we are very much embedding skills, but not just the skills. It's not about just the classroom. It's getting out there into the field. And Gibraltar offers an opportunity because it's so small. We've got, the nearshore environment's very, very close to us. This is a picture of Sandy Bay when we went snorkeling, and you will do that for your first practical, for example, when we conduct a sea urchin survey. And you very much will be immersed, pardon the pun, in the marine environment. So you got the opportunity to work in the nearshore coastal environments, and where we sit, as Henry has mentioned, we're at the confluence of the Atlantic and the Mediterranean Sea. So we do have influences from both water bodies, and therefore it gives you this hotspot of biodiversity. So you will get your hands wet. We work with our kind of various stakeholders. On the bottom right there, you will see members of the Department of Environment, and we very much work closely with them. You will perform multiple ecological surveys, which is another very important skill. There's examples there of the rocky shore, but that's not the only type of ecological survey we undertake. You'll undertake snorkel surveys, so the sea urchin survey I mentioned. Again, science communication, very, very important skill. So we train you to a very high level. You will undertake conference-style presentations. And what works very well is what's known as journal club. And this is the kind of practical kind of classroom-based thinking where students are given a task and they have to kind of analyze the literature as well as present. So you're going to improve your public speaking skills. There's an example on our website of science communication, and Ivan there created a stakeholder video, which was one of the assessments, and he chose to embark on communicating to the public about ocean acidification. So you can read about his experience there. As well as going to the field, you will very much learn laboratory analytical techniques. Actually, this is on the picture on the bottom right. Two of our graduates are now working in the University Public Health Lab, trying to basically helping with our efforts to defeat COVID. Very much with the classroom, as well as getting there and getting your hands wet in the field. We do undertake laboratory practicals, and actually yesterday we undertook the very same habitat complexity practical, looking at the associated fauna within the algae. And so finally, obviously we gear you and we give all the skills so then you're able to undertake a research-based project. So that's 13 weeks, and it's very much a project where you're then able to come up with a research question, design a project which you would like to test a hypothesis, and finally submit your dissertation. As our motto suggests, knowledge is the key to success. So, and it's not just the knowledge that you come away with. Really, you will get real-world experience of the skills and very much the transferable skills. Whether you want to work in mangroves or seagrass in the tropics, those skills that you learn here are very much transferable. So, what are the types of careers that are available to you? Obviously, I mentioned PhD, but you can go into the renewable sector, and that's a huge growth sector in the next coming years. Coastal engineers, local governments, You can work. We give you tasks so you can create your own consultancy should you wish with the skills that we give you. You can work for marine charities, conservation groups, coastal planners, to name but a few. So there's another type of feedback that we got from our former graduate now, Ken. We never want to be a big university. We can't. From the photos you will see, we are small. We never want to have lecture theatre of 200 students. So it works well. We have small class sizes. It's very interactive. I run informal lectures, so you can stop me at any point and say, look, I didn't understand that point. Could you go back? Now, it works both ways. So that means you can't hide or sleep in class because there's so few of you. But likewise, I can't either. So I have to be on the ball and answer your questions. And it's very much an interactive, participative approach. There's an example here of a student spotlight. You can read all about Emma's story. Emma now is one of our graduates, and she's undertaking a PhD at the University of Glasgow. So these are my contact details. Should you have any questions about the program itself, feel free to contact me. I'm regularly tweeting about our students and the program itself. So yeah, we look forward to your application and I'm happy to take any questions. And actually that photo was taken yesterday. We conducted our a practical looking at the invasive algae that the Straits and Gibraltar and the Western Mediterranean suffers from. So happy to take any questions.
Yeah, we have a question. So this person said that they studied sustainable development with a focus on economic in their bachelor. Is it possible to study this master, or do they need to do a lot of credits in biology or other courses?
Yes, good question. And very much, which is why we take applications on a case-by-case basis. And I'm very much an advocate of, if a student is motivated enough and has the aptitude, obviously we assess your aptitude based on your degree or previous experience, we will take that student on and you know, if you can study when it's absolutely raining and, you know, very cold in the middle of winter, you can certainly do well when it's nice and sunny. So yeah, that's on balance. And to answer your question, yes, that's not a problem. Send us your application and we'll have a chat.
The question also has a second question. Is there a minimum of credit points you need in biology or chemistry, etc.?
Yeah, very much linked to the previous question. We will take you along this year-long journey, and we will provide you with that support. Now, doesn't matter if you haven't come from a science background. This is a hard science. I'm not going to lie to you, hence why it's challenging, and we will support you every step of the way. Obviously, it needs you know, your input in putting those hours in. Do you need previous credit? No, you don't. But we will certainly support you, but we will have a chat when we receive your application.
Great, okay. Oops. For now, does anyone have any other questions? You can write them in the chat if you wish. What I will do is I'll start to launch a poll. So if you could just fill that poll out, that'd be really helpful. Okay. So we have another question. They would like to know if this master encounter fields in microbiology, if you encounter the fields of microbiology.
Yeah, it's a good question. So in terms of this, even though it's a master's level and a specialization, we don't necessarily touch upon, have a module on molecular biology. We do touch upon concepts, but it's not a molecular biology focused degree.
Okay, just seeing a few people have filled out that poll. If anyone else could fill it out, it'd be very helpful. And if you have questions, please keep sending them our way. Also, often happens is that maybe you don't think of the question now, but you have it later on. So maybe you can send us an email with your question whenever you like, whenever it comes to mind, and we'll try and get that answered for you as soon as possible. Are there opportunities to scuba dive as part of the course?
Yes, a great question. So what I run on a yearly basis, we were meant to run it last year, but because of COVID, obviously, what I run in June is what's known as Marine Training Week. So those kind of students who hadn't the opportunity to dive previously can do so, and we work very much with a local provider. So we will secure you a discount. I mean, you can free to do that any time of year with them, but if you do that with us in June, we will get you a discount, and we'll make a whole party of it, because it's in summer. And the whole point of it is so you can get those skills, obviously that training, but we will do it before World Oceans Day. So then there's a yearly beach cleanup, underwater beach cleanup. And so that's where we will help the Department of Environment. And this is the whole point of training. And the training that we could offer you with our local provider is, if you haven't got open water, you can certify to PADI open water, or you can do your advanced open water. In addition to that, we will offer boat handling, of course. So those of you who want to kind of drive a rib, you're more than welcome to undertake that program.
Great, thank you. Next question. If you make an application, when will you likely to hear back from the university confirming or declining your place?
Is that James? Hi, James. Good to see familiar names there. Very soon, actually, with regards to yours, we've already sent you your offer letter. So if you haven't heard from us, then it might have gone to a spam filter. I can check with SEO office, and because that offer has been sent, if I recollect your application. So I will chase that up after this meeting, after this webinar.
We have another question. When can they hear back? When can they expect to hear back if they've been accepted? Oh, yeah, same question.
Oh, same question.
Yeah. Can they still apply for scholarships if they've already applied?
Yeah. Okay. Let me. So the first, well, just a kind of addition to James's question. So roughly speaking, depends on when you applied, but yeah, usually I'd say no more than 20 working days, a month and a half. So by the time, and the whole process is, we receive your application, I assess it, we set up a meeting, and it's not an interview, we just set up a meeting with the applicant, and we discuss your background, your interests. You get to know me, I get to know you. You can ask us questions about the accommodation, for example, the program, when you would be expected to come to Gibraltar, anything like that. We'll review your application, and then we will turn that around very quickly with the application committee, and then you get sent an offer. So like I said, a month tops. And in fact, we do the record we've had is 24 hours.
And the additional question to this is, do they apply for scholarships after they've applied?
Yes, you can actually. So if you go on our scholarship page, so you can have an offer. Now, if you've applied and received an offer, accepted the offer, you can still apply for the scholarship, yes. Now, just a bit about the scholarships. Usually, what we do is we depending on the applicant, the committee may deem them appropriate to give them an international scholarship. So if you're an international applicant, your fee gets reduced to the home fee. So but this year, obviously, we're just making a flat fee for both home, EU, and international students. So that scholarship is basically negated. There's no need for that scholarship anymore. There is an additional scholarship, but there's a Europa bursary. Now, those are limited, and that's up to £1,000 kind of reduction in your fees. So that's the only ones that would be available. To answer your question, yes, you can. Once you've received your offer, you accept, you can still apply for that. It's great. We've got loads of questions. Happy to keep going.
We'll give it just a few more seconds because the questions have cleared up a little bit. So if anyone else has any other questions, please go typing them in. Yeah,
so just kind of while people are thinking of a question, we're very much, I advocate for a work hard and play harder kind of approach to this program. We're very social in this marine science program. Like obviously you saw a photo of Livia and Ambrose there. we took a photo underwater during our practical. So there's plenty of opportunity to kind of work hard, but have a good time. And what we're trying to kind of advocate for here is just, it's not a year-long relationship where you come in, do your studies and go. You're going to make lifelong friends. And certainly I want a relationship with you guys because I may want to collaborate with you if you go into research, let's say, and get a job with an NGO in the tropics, for example. So you know, you're going to join a family atmosphere in that sense. And this is what the small class sizes are very good at. And you will develop lifelong relationships here.
Great. We have another question, if they can pursue a PhD in Gibraltar.
Yeah, so we do have a PhD program, and you know, if you complete the masters and it's a sufficient level, yes, you certainly could have the chance to pursue a PhD here.
I can send also a link to our research page actually that talks about PhDs as well. I'll put it inside the chat. I think that might be it for questions. If you, oh no, we still have some more. Great. Are there extracurricular university clubs?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So in terms of, so again, we're very young, and obviously COVID has had an impact globally in terms of higher education institutes. We are very much about the students. So the students currently this year are very much tasked with setting up of the student union. So if you come in and let's say you have an idea to develop a club, you're more than welcome to put a proposal in, and yes, they will be able to do so. Actually, if I point to, and let me get the direction right, no, wrong way, the stadium, the sports stadium there will have gyms, and they've got indoor five-a-side football, they've got darts, and I think you can actually join the local clubs there. So even though the university may not have a club, there's opportunity there to join local clubs.
Yeah, as well to wade in on that, Gibraltar is quite a active community. So we do have a lot of clubs that anyone doing sports or any types of or other hobbies can easily find clubs and join them locally. I know, for example, I play beach volleyball. I know a lot of people come and play who just move into Gibraltar. So students are obviously always welcome. We have another question about the thesis. The thesis is 4 months long. Is it possible to extend the length?
Okay, so generally speaking, the master's project is 13 weeks long. Is it possible to extend? Not really. The reason being, we want you to finish in a year. That's the whole point of this accelerated program. Now, if you want the decision to then prolong your studies, obviously that's additional to the year long, you'd have to pay. And if you want to expand on that project, let's say you want to develop it into a PhD project, then that's something, a separate issue. But in terms of the generality of a 4-month project, no, it's a 13-week research project. Was I on mute for that one? Okay, any more questions?
Yep, I have one more question. While getting informed on the program, I come across Gibraltar Artificial Reef Project, which interests quite a bit. Is this a project we might get the opportunity to work with during the course?
Yeah, so in terms of working with stakeholders, which this project very much would be, we do have several artificial reefs. Some were actually created 25 years ago. Darren was who's our director of academic programs and research, who actually teaches on this program, was very much responsible for setting that up and involved in that. So yes, you'll be able to work with stakeholders in that project as well. And this is the whole beauty of our program here. We very much work with our local stakeholders. The Department of Environment, who actually would be overseeing that project in particular, are very active stakeholders, and they would be actually part of your supervisory team if you're doing your work here. So yes, it's in essence, you would be able to do that, as well as working with local dive clubs. They're very much enthusiastic and working with us, and that's something. And actually, we've got current students who are thinking of their project now, because you would start your projects in May, finish in August, and the current students are very much thinking of working with the local divers on this project. Okay, any final questions? If not, you're more than happy. Well, we're more than happy to take any more kind of questions over email.
Yeah, Awantha, if you could maybe write your email in as well,
Yeah,
so
sure.
that people could send you one, and I'll put in the SEO email also. So if you start your application by maybe having some problem, you can easily email seo@unigib.edu.gi, and they'll help you fill in the application, or if you have any errors, they'll obviously there to support you, as well as you've got Awantha's email. So again, if there are any questions that come up later, you can send him an email also, or if you want to have a talk with Awantha about the course or anything that you want to question him on, he's available. So if there are no more questions, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for attending. We hope to see your applications in, and hope you have a good weekend.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you very much for your time.